Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. Thank you for joining me here in the tea tasting room. It is always a pleasure when I get to sit and talk with you on a weekly basis. Now I'm here because today's episode we're going to be talking about self-accountability, which is very important. It's something that I won't say I'm struggling with, but I've come to terms with and I've been practicing and implementing in my everyday life. So we're going to talk about that on the episode today. But before I get into it, I am going to share the tea of the week. I've been drinking this tea, I want to say for the last few days now. It's just something that I feel like I'm going to do because I'm getting ready to do a procedure. I won't say procedure, but I will tell you guys about it once it's done. But, I've been trying to improve my gut health, think about my digestive system, and just work on my health and wellness journey. So definitely that's what I've been doing. So I've been trying to be intentional with the types of tea that I've been drinking, at least for this month. I go back and forth, every day is not going to be the same, but this week's tea is going to be ginger peach turmeric herbal tea. And that is known to help it reduce an inflammation, any swelling and pain. And also it's a remedy for gas as well as improving your digestion. So that's what I'm drinking today. It's ginger peach turmeric herbal tea. Now, we are going to get into the episode because I'm not going to keep it here that long. We're going to get into the episode when it comes to accountability, because I'm pretty sure that's something that you hear all the time when it comes to your way of life and accomplishing and working towards your goals. We always hear about accountability or holding someone accountable for their actions and these different things. So we're going to dive into the art of essentially holding oneself accountable, because that is what I've come to realize is a crucial skill for your personal and also professional growth. And also it helps with achieving your goals as well. So I'm going to do my best to provide you with some sort of tips, some suggestions, and even some resources essentially to help you with mastering the art of self-accountability. So that's what we're going to get into today in the tea tasting room as we get ready to continue catering to our minds and our bodies and these different things. Now, you may be thinking, Tanya, why are you talking to me about self-accountability? What in the world is even self-accountability? So when we're talking about self-accountability, let's start by really trying to understand the definition of that. It is your ability to take ownership of your actions, your decisions, and of course, their consequences. Why is that important? It is very important because it is essentially the foundation for you achieving personal and professional success as well. Now, I'm all for someone holding us accountable or us holding someone accountable. It's a great skill for us to have. And you can imagine how effective it would be if we were to hold ourselves accountable. Now, I'll use me as an example. I am someone who I've been on and off this health and wellness journey. I've been on, I've been off, but I've been on going steady for the last couple of months, right? But what I'm coming to realize, even though I am a self-motivator, I know when I set my mind to something, it's going to happen. It doesn't matter what day or time of the week, I'm going to get it done because nothing or no one is going to stop me from accomplishing whatever task or goal I set out for myself. But believe it or not, when it comes to working out, I will say that because I've been in the gym. I'm seeing some small minor change in my mind. I may do a workout and I'm expecting to see a six pack at the end of the workout, or I'm expecting to see toned legs or arms at the end of the workout. That's just how my brain works. Obviously, that is not the reality. But when it came to going to the gym, I've been wanting to go to the gym for a long time, and I kept using the excuse as during the winter time, it's too cold. I'm an island girl. I don't do cold. I still don't. Doesn't matter. I've been in this country for 14 years and I'm still not used to the cold. So that was my excuse at one point. Then my other excuse for not going to the gym was I didn't have any time. By the time I got off work, I was tired. I had other things to do. So I just kept finding a bunch of excuses, right? But in recent time, I found myself having a gym buddy. And that's by way of one of my friends. We decided that we were gonna go on a 6-month transformation journey. And with that, that included us going to the gym. And at the time, the goal was for us to just get active, get the body moving. Because I started going on walks in the afternoons, to be honest. So I didn't make it to the gym a few months ago, but I would go walking on the riverfront because, the water was calming. The weather was much nicer. So I would go walking, but walking was just not enough for me to achieve the goal that I'm trying to achieve as it relates to my health and wellness, as it relates to my body. You know what I mean? And I found myself being eager and excited to go to the gym because I had a gym partner, and this gym partner was essentially keeping me or holding me accountable. So on the days when I didn't want to go to the gym, she would be like, "It's time to go to the gym. We got to get our body moving. Let's just get moving. Let's do the things that we are uncomfortable doing." That would be what she would say to me from time to time. So that's how I essentially got to the gym and was going, 3-4 times a week. And then after a while, I no longer needed, and when I say no longer needed, it became a part of my routine. So that now I know that on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever days they were, I would be going to the gym. Even if my gym partner could not make it for whatever reason, I was going to go to the gym because I had that accountability from my friend at first, that created the routine, the gym routine. So now I know that going to the gym is part of my day-to-day routine. Now I have my own specific goals. So there are days when I don't work out at the gym because, based on how my schedule is, I'm making sure that I'm getting a full body workout at home. So I'm going to put on that YouTube, and you're going to see me holding myself accountable, doing the things that I said I was going to do for me because I have a specific goal that I want to meet as it relates to my appearance and just how I want to feel by the end of the year. So I'm saying all this to say that sometimes we need someone else to motivate us, someone else to hold us accountable. Too many times we tell somebody, let's be accountability partners, which is all great. Because sometimes we need that. We need that support. We talk about community. We talk about building our village. That's what that looks like. Having your village to hold you accountable, to ensure that you are achieving the goals or doing the things that you say you would do. Because sometimes it's easy to get distracted. It's also easy to give up on what you're wanting to do because one thing about life is just going to life. And life is going to always also throw you a curveball. So you definitely want to ensure that you have that community, that support by way of your friends, family, whoever that, your circle, whoever that may be. But I also want to, in a sense, identify one of the reasons why sometimes it's just so hard for us to achieve or work on being self-accountable because some of the times we are making generalized goals. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, me, I'm a morning person. I'm an early riser. It doesn't matter what time I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get up. I'm going to get up early. My body just knows what the deal is. But let's say you're someone who's not a morning person, but you're going to tell yourself, I'm going to get up early. That's all you're telling yourself. I want to get up early. That to me is a little bit too general for my liking. Because what is getting up early? Getting up early to you could be 10 o'clock. It could be 11 o'clock. It could be whatever the case may be. So maybe you want to have more time to read or journal or even exercise like what I do. Whatever it is, or maybe if you have kids, you want to have quiet time before the kids. I know I have a friend who sometimes she gets up extra early so she can have that quiet moment to herself before her kids come running downstairs. And before you know it, it's a chaotic day. So when you're saying I'm going to get up early in the morning, the first thing that essentially prevents us from or prevents self-accountability is that we get general. We say, I've never done this before. I can't do this. I was just talking to someone that told me the other day, I don't know how you get up early because I can't do it. You can do it, but you got to be specific when it comes to what does that mean? What does getting up early look like for me? Do I want to set my alarm for 5:15 every day to get up? Then you're becoming a little bit more specific and you're wanting or you're on the journey to holding yourself accountable in that regard, So that's something to consider. Not instead of being too general, you don't want to be general. You definitely want to be specific when it comes to the things that you want to accomplish and you want to hold yourself accountable for. Because accountability isn't just about, let's say, acknowledging our mistakes. It's about embracing the responsibility for your life, for your life. And I do want to talk about some of the benefits of holding yourself accountability, and that these are, you have increased productivity. Like I mentioned, if you're someone who's not a morning person and you may want to get up early, getting up early or going to bed at a certain time at night, you could be productive. You have a particular time set. For me, I get most of my work done in the morning before anything, and then by midday, 1 o'clock, it's time for me to. I'm getting ready to crash a tad bit, but I've been reprogramming my mind and reframing my mindset when it comes to that. But one of the benefits of holding of accountability is it's an increased productivity. So think about how productive you can be when it comes to that. It's about, you have improved relationships. You're able to also enhance your self-esteem. You're able to achieve your goals more. Because for me, nobody can tell me I'm not a gym rat. Let me tell you, I would live in the gym 24/7 if I could, but obviously I can't. I legitimately look forward to going to the gym. And there's some days, because of my schedule, I cannot go to the gym. I aim to go to the gym 3 days a week, which I do consistently. And the other days of the week, I am very much doing a at home workout. Like I have a little at home gym situation going on, because I realize what working out does to me from a mental standpoint and of course physically. And that is, me working out consistently has caused me to love my body more and more daily. That's one thing. I know I'm talking about working out because that's what resonates with me right now. But also in going to school, knowing that we have all these other external factors that's happening, but at the end of the day, my main goal is to get all A's in school, or let me just say, to pass my classes. You know what I mean? So I have to now hold myself accountable. I cannot expect someone to hold me accountable by telling me, hey, Tanya, don't forget you have your homework. Did you do your homework? All these different things. It's like, no, you have to know internally what you want for your life and how you're going to go about, achieving it. So you definitely want to ensure that you are understanding what your goals are. Now, I want us to think about some ways in which we can cultivate self accountability. So we're going to get a little bit practical here when it comes to becoming self accountable, because we don't want to have to always depend on someone. Again, having your village, having people you can depend on is very important, but that has to come from within. You have to hold yourself accountable, hold yourself to the highest standard. Sometimes we set expectations for other people, or we have certain expectations from other people, but then we don't set these same expectations or have these same standards for ourselves. So here are some tips, or some actionable tips, essentially, when it comes to trying to cultivate self accountability. You want to set clear goals. We've talked about SMART goals day in, day out on this podcast, but you do want to set clear goals. Define what exactly it is you want to achieve in this life, or what you want to achieve when it comes to certain aspect of your life. So once you set those clear goals, you're going to now create a plan. One thing about me, I'm a plan. I'm going to plan, because execution is key. And if I don't plan, sometimes my life goes off track, legitimately. So you're going to create a plan so that you can break your goals into manageable steps. I'm going to go ahead and say use a journal. That's how I get by in life. Of course, you can use your journal to self-reflect. You can use your journal to track your progress, whatever it is. But you do want to use a journal to track your progress and also to reflect on your actions. And I will say again, like I'm saying, even though I'm talking about self accountability, you do also want to find an accountability partner. So you want to share your goals with someone who can hold you to them. But again, you don't want to become dependent on a person, because you got to work on it internally to accomplish and achieve your goals. So when that accountability partner that you have comes to you to see if you are staying true to who you are and working towards your goal, you can feel good within yourself. And then with that, you'll be able to reward yourself. Celebrate your achievements along the way, no matter how big or small they may be. You want to celebrate those achievements. So some tips for cultivating self accountability: you want to set clear goals to define what you want to achieve. Create a solid plan so you can break down your goals into actionable and manageable steps. You want to get a journal so you can use a journal which will track your progress as well as reflect on your actions. You want to find an accountability partner. There's nothing wrong with that. So you can share your goals with someone so that they can hold you accountable and they keep you in line. And of course, with doing that, you're going to have that self motivation. So then you'll be able to reward yourself, or you'll be able to celebrate any sort of achievements, no matter how big or small, along that journey. And I will say this, because with myself included, we all face challenges when it comes to holding ourselves accountable. Because let me tell you, I'm on this health and wellness journey. I got serious in the gym, got serious with my working out. I have a particular goal that I'm trying to meet when it comes to this body. I have a particular goal when it comes to me managing my time and prioritizing myself and rest. But sometimes life happens and it doesn't always happen in the way I don't get to do the things that I say I'm going to do. Like, for instance, I have a meal plan. I'm supposed to be eating certain types of food certain days of the week. And there are some days when I'm not eating, I'm either skipping lunch and then I have dinner, or I'm eating a late lunch, but then no dinner. So there's just so many different things that no amount of self accountability is going to get me to always stick to this plan, because I am also a moody eater. I'm a moody person. As a woman, sometimes, not even sometimes, as a woman, we have our different phases of our menstrual cycle. So sometimes the body's going to want and crave what it needs. We do face challenges sometimes. I'm a big procrastinator. One thing about me, I'm going to procrastinate and do everything at the ninth hour, even though it always works out for me. It's just not a good feeling. So I've really tried to combat me working under pressure, but sometimes it happens. But some of the ways in which you can face the challenges that's holding you from being accountable is some of this. It could be procrastination. I just mentioned that. So you want to use I would say like a 2-minute rule to start your task immediately. So definitely get the bar going. Take a deep breath, 5, 10 deep breaths, and get the bar going. You do not want to put off something that you can do today or in that moment for later, because I can guarantee you sometimes when later comes, you don't even want to do anything again. Take it from me, because that's usually my thing. Oh, I'm going to do it later. Oh, I assume I'm going to have this sort of energy. And then sometimes, absolutely not. By the time I get home, it's like, it's time for me to shower and go to bed. There's no energy here. So that's another challenge that you can have. You procrastinate a lot. Then it could be lack of motivation. We've all experienced that in our lives. So you want to be sure to find your why and definitely remind yourself of that why on a day-to-day basis. For me, I do have Post-its. I have several journals. I have notes in my notes app, but I've been using the Post-its method. If you've seen that show Being Mary Jane, when Gabrielle Union was writing all the different affirmations and stuff on her Post-its and putting it in her window in her bathroom, above her bed, places in which she will see and she will need a constant reminder. That's what I've been doing. I did it before, but now I've been doing it again now, because I'm realizing that I was lacking motivation in some areas of my life. So you definitely want to find your why and remind yourself regularly. That could be by way of putting Post-its of affirmations or of your why in spaces that you're going to see, in common spaces that you have to see it, and you'll be reminded. Another challenge that we face is fear of failure. Sometimes we got to embrace our mistakes as an opportunity to learn. Because one thing about me, I always say I will learn the hard way. But I'm in the period of my life where I now embrace, I accept, and I acknowledge whatever mistakes I may have made in the past or even in the present, but use it as a time to learn. And then another challenge that we have, distractions. I am easily distracted for whatever reason. So you want to identify your triggers and try to eliminate them. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's a bit easier, but you want to be able to identify your triggers so you're not in spaces or in an environment that's going to constantly trigger you and cause you to be distracted. So that's something that you want to do. And we live in a social media, digital world where sometimes staying accountable can be challenging for whatever that is. So you definitely, when we talk about protecting your peace, you want to protect your time and your focus with different types of tools, like the time management apps. I'm a Pomodoro girl. I'm going to get something done in 20 minutes and then I'm going to rest for like 5 to 10, 15 minutes. I don't, it just depends on how it is, but I try to do stuff in like a 20, 30-minute block so I can just be seriously honed in on that time frame. And then when that is up, I'm going to go hang out. I'm going to go take a break. I'm going to go chill. So that's something that you want to look into, like the different time management apps. And you can just take a social media break. I'm not there in my life yet. That's not part of my ministry right now. But I do have a way where I don't necessarily have to be on social media as much, because this past week, my numbers are down. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the time. I'm busy with work, school, everything. So, you want to find other methods to I guess, avoid your distraction or making sure that you're protecting your time and your focus and just your peace, So it's definitely that's something that you want to incorporate when it comes to holding yourself accountable. Too many times we depend on others to hold us accountable for us, for others to help us, give us that boost to overcome whatever issues we may be facing or for us to accomplish our goals. And that's just not, we can't continue to rely on just that. We have to have that internal motivation, that internal essence, to dig deep and to see how can I hold myself accountable so I can be the best sister, I can be the best girlfriend, mother. How can I be the best student, the best business owner, the best at my job? It comes on again from your own self-awareness and you being self-accountable for what you're doing. And that's all I got for you. Because, I challenge you to set a particular or specific goal for next week. And I definitely want you to tag me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you find me. Like, what is one goal that you're going to set? You're going to be specific with this goal. But with that one goal, you're going to see how you can hold yourself accountable without having to depend on someone or even your accountability partner. How can you hold yourself accountable? Because we have to support each other in achieving our goals. But again, we cannot go about life depending on someone else to always hold us accountable. It's good to share our goals and dreams with our friends and our support circle. But at the end of the day, we have to depend on ourselves. We have to have that internal motivation for wanting to achieve the things that we want to achieve in this life, Sometimes, depending on others, like I would have mentioned in the point from an empty cup, sometimes we don't want to pull from an empty cup, so we can't expect others to do the same for us. It should not be someone's responsibility to ensure that you are accomplishing your goals. No, the purpose of an accountability partner essentially should be to and keep you accountable, yes, but just to check in here and there, kind of like a mentor-mentee relationship. You definitely want to be able to be self-motivating from time to time, but also leave room for error, leave room to give yourself grace, because at the end of the day, no 2 days are going to look the same. No 2 days are going to be the same. So that's all I got for you. I want to thank you for joining me here in the tea tasting room. I want you to remember that, you have to understand that self-accountability is a journey, not a destination. So you definitely want to start small. You want to stay consistent, and you will definitely see how your life transform for the better in a positive way. So I definitely want you to think about how you can be accountable. Think about that goal for next week. And when we come back here in the tea tasting room, I do want to see where, if you were able to hold yourself accountable to accomplish these goals and these dreams that you have. And as I leave you, I do want to leave you with the affirmation of the week, and that is, I am knowledgeable about what I am building and will continue to learn and to improve. I am knowledgeable about what I am building and will continue to learn and improve. Thank you. Until next week, be safe, keep striving for your dream, and keep working on that internal motivation. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.